Hi, I'm Leanne from Spruce Energy Healing, and I'm going to answer some questions about past lives in this video. So, the first one is, what are past lives and how do they influence our current life? So, our current existence, how we are right now. So, past lives are different lives, different experiences your soul has chosen to have that isn't what you're experiencing right now. So different people go into this in different layers. When you get to that soul level, time doesn't really exist the way it does for us here. So it's not necessarily a past life as in a chronological order. It's a life, an experience, an existence. But since we are here in these bodies on Earth, let's just say past life, current life, future life, and use the chronological timelines because it helps us make more sense of them. So, past lives are lives that you have lived in the past. So, our soul incarnates over and over and over again. And the purpose is to have new experiences. So, to explore. Our soul's job is to explore, is to learn. And through this learning, there's growth. And with this learning and growth also comes gathering trauma, gathering issues, getting these pain points, because as you are exploring, you also tend to bump the corners. You get bruises along the way as you're exploring. Um, Exploring wouldn't be really exciting if you went in one path right in the middle where it's perfectly safe. You you tend to go all the way around, and near the edges, just to be a visual, you can get bumps and bruises and scrapes. And those scrapes will disperse throughout all the lives. It will affect all of them, just as though in the same way that all these benefits, all these experiences you're having are going to ripple out and help the whole soul. So there's the balance, right? So as they're all connected, all affecting each other, and those past lives, yeah, they're just exploring. They're having experiences. And that's why a lot of our lives, there's a variety, but if there is, let's say, a life with you're a male in that life and you get this one, let me see, I'm just trying to think of an example. Uh you're I'll say maybe you were strangled in that life. So it was a very traumatic death. So then the next life, you want to heal that energy. You want to heal that bruise on the soul from that strangulation. So in order to do that, you need to have a tie. You need to have a connection. So in that life, you have maybe a neck injury, uh, something to tie that energy into the next life. And then you work through trying to heal that in whatever way you know how to do. If you are not aware of that past life and why it happened and the circumstances around it, maybe you're not healing it all the way. You're healing part of it. You're chipping away. You are literally trying to heal it blind. You don't know what to do. You don't know what direction to guide it at. If you know why it happened, then you have direction. You know what you can do. You know how to move through it. And sometimes just the knowledge alone will help shed that energy. Sometimes it's asking for awareness, and sometimes it's asking for you to step up and do things to um, counteract. Because maybe, let's say, you were strangled because you were speaking out about something. So in this life, you have pain, or oh, you can't talk. You can't share this information. You can't speak your truth. So the way to move through it, if ideally, is to speak your truth, is to use your voice. Sometimes that path to be able to use your voice needs some assistance because it can be really challenging to move through these issues. So energy healing, knowing where it comes from, and being supported and having tools and tricks to help you along the way to build up to be able to use your voice. That's the thing. That's the thing that can support us and help us move forward to move through those energies. So that's one example of how it can affect your current life and how it influences each other. It's just a web. It's all connected. So the next question, how can understanding our past lives help us in our present life? I think I got that in the last one, but also the things that you're really good at your last life. Your soul has had so much practice on at doing. So in this life, you're really good at it. You didn't really have to try as hard as other people. You just needed to be introduced to it. Or some people just naturally do it without even having any type of lesson, any type of exposure. They can just do it. So those are like soul gifts that your soul has done many times, that knows how to do it, and they can help you in this life, support you in this life. And those gifts are spread out into the lives, and each little, the way I see it is that you have this, you have all the lives connected and they spread out and they move all the energy from all the lives together, but each life has a purpose, has a goal. And maybe some of those energies would be beneficial for that goal, and some it wouldn't really be beneficial. Maybe you wouldn't get to learn a certain lesson if you had this energy. So it's like a filter. Your soul puts a filter in place of saying, okay, I want this and I want this and I don't want this. And then that soul, that life, part of the soul, that life, that chunk, it goes off and lives that experience and hopefully has new experiences to bring into the whole higher self, as well as working through some of the traumas that might be affecting the higher self. So we are constantly doing this over and over and over again. And yes, we're getting new traumas, we're getting new bruises along the way, but we're working through the old ones as well. And that is a learning experience that helps the soul grow. So it's just all these experiences piling together to like help you be who you want to be, who your soul wants to be. It's all working together. It's this community within yourself. You are just one little branch of your higher self. And within all these lives, there's just, I'm trying to think of the right word. It's feels just curiosity. I feel like the higher self, the energy of the higher self is mostly curiosity. And we're exploring. We're the explorers. We get the fun job. So using that hat, putting the explorer, the fun hat on, is a healthy way to move through some of these challenges that, yeah, we all get them and they suck. They suck. And no one usually has fun when it gets hard. But if you put on the explorer and the curiosity hat of what's asking to be looked at, what's asking to be healed, what's asking to be moved through, and if you think of the goal as up-leveling your soul as you move through this, what lesson can we percolate into the rest of the soul, higher self of the soul? I find that perspective is useful for me. And the next one, what are some common signs or indicators that a current life challenge or pattern is rooted in the past life? So the most common one is you don't know where it comes from. It kind of just comes out of nowhere. There's no logical reason or root. So, if you as a kid fell off a boat, it'd be very logical that you are afraid of boats. If you've never had a traumatic experience about boats and you're afraid of them, well, there might be a past life tie. So, and there could also be ancestral ties as well, but we're focusing on the past life, and they're very similar to ancestral ties, the way they work energetically. But anyways, for the past life, all those little not logical or things that don't have a clear reason for being there. have a lot of past life ties. And especially, I'm going to say for pain wise, when they come out of nowhere, or let's say a bout of stress or something happens, and that's like a little ignition, it turns it on, and then uh, it connects that part of the past life. I'm just talking about myself, about my neck. It started with a very stressful experience, and I know I've had many, 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 many past lives that have had an issue with the neck. And there's so many layers and so many reasons. It feels like all of these different energies are just being stuck into one spot. So slowly peeling away each one and getting to the root. And it can take time. And it's not something that is a one and done quick fix for some things, because things have been stagnant or steady for a long time. Maybe you get an energy healing or a reading, and then it kind of breaks it up a little bit, but it's not completely clear because it needs more work. And sometimes the work needs to be done slowly enough. If you push it too far and push it out of the way, your energy, your body's kind of like, what's going on? And then it might call it back. So you have to do it slowly enough that you can adjust, and then you're fine without it. So there's also things you do along the way to help clear the energy and keep it moving, because that's important. The upkeep is important for a lot of these things that are chronic. And how can past lives be healed, and what does healing have on our current life? Okay, so I've talked about this a little bit again, but past lives can be healed by just acknowledging it. I heal them by asking the higher self how. Directly asking the higher self, how does it want to be healed? How does that energy want to be moved? And then there's a whole bunch of different energy healings that can take place. And as I'm asking this question, sometimes new ones are shown to me. It's whatever works best for that energy. And then those energy healings happen. And sometimes for yourself, when you're doing it just yourself without getting a session done, let me see, what's a good one for generally for everyone? Okay, so visualize light, source light coming and flowing through you, all the way through you, and letting it go all the way into the earth and and that helps move energy. It's not going to be a big plow. It's not a directed spot where we can like move it and like pull it out, or like surround it with lots of love and let it settle down on its own. This is a general one that will work all the time, and I suggest you do it every day because it's really nice to have. And you have that source light flowing through you, and it helps break up little pieces. And it'll slowly break it up and get the energy to flow and the move. And the more you do it, the faster your energy will flow. And it's I like it as an upkeep. If you have really strong blocks, it's a little challenging to get it to move, but you can still do it. Okay, so you just move that energy through you, visualizing white light flowing through you. Super easy, super, super easy. And yeah, the past life and this life are connected in that pattern, in that the web. So when you heal a past life, you heal a current life. When you heal a current life, you heal a past life. It's all the same. It's the same energy, and it all mushes together. So when you work on now, you're working on the past. We work on the past, you work on now. And I tend to use the perspective of whatever the soul is asking me to use. So if I talk to a client about right now, because talking about it right now is going to be more beneficial for the energy to move than talking about a past life. Sometimes talking about a past life is more beneficial to get the energy move. I find a past life doesn't have maybe any blame or pressure that you might feel now in this life. Like you take responsibility or the blame for this for happening. So going to a past life, you're removing that blame. You're taking that weight off your shoulders. So healing it in the past life is most beneficial in that case. I kind of follow the higher self to see what will be most beneficial. But I find the past life taking the weight off is really, really, really beneficial for a lot of people. Um, oh, it said, how do relationships in past lives affect our relationships in this current life? So we have a soul family. So that's a group of souls that like to incarnate together. They've agreed to have certain lessons to support each other's learning and to help that soul experience what they want to experience. Sometimes it is being a negative experience on somebody else. Sometimes it's being a positive experience on somebody else. Sometimes it's being a neutral experience. So there's a large variety. So most likely your immediate family and your best friends are part of your soul family. There's a high likelihood of that happening. And they've been with you in many, many other lives, playing all sorts of different roles. Some have been the same role, some have been different roles, and you're pretty much you're doing a play and you're trying on all the different characters, trying on all the different costumes, and seeing how that works and how your energy works in that situation, and is it beneficial for the lesson you want to live. And sometimes there are multiple incarnations that have the same lesson, but you're trying on different hats, you're trying on different things. So try to get that lesson learned. So it's a bit of an experimentation process as well when you look back at past lives. Um, and oh, and in what ways does exploring past life enhance our spiritual growth and understanding? So I see it as widening your view. You're not so pigeonholed. You're not got with your blinders on. You're able to see things more fully. And anytime you are able to expand your vision and to see things more fully, more clearly, then it is a growth opportunity. And anytime you're like, whoa, I didn't see it that way before. Wow. And that's that energy of curiosity uh, and wonderment. Anytime you're in that energy, it helps your soul, helps your energy move. It gives you, and then you have a tangible reason for in another situation when you're kind of more pigeonholed, you're like, oh, yeah, I can expand, I can grow, I can move. And anytime that you're in a situation where you can widen your vision, it is really important for spiritual growth. Because I don't think you can have real spiritual growth and development in the world sense of like as a community of all human beings. It's not just your single self. You can't have that unless you're able to see others' perspectives, others' views, others' experiences. So being able to acknowledge and see that is really important. And we all get blinders on at some point. Nobody is perfect and sees it all the time. That's part of our lesson here. So, but reminding yourself that you can widen them is really important. And the more you do that, the easier it gets, and the more you do it. And that's pretty much the main reason why I think past lives are so important to spiritual growth and understanding. Is just getting comfortable being in amazement and wondering what the world could be, what the universe could be, and allowing yourself to see and allowing yourself to be open to seeing, even if you don't really see it, being open to allowing it to happen. And let me see if there's another question here. Can past lives reveal the purpose or mission of the current life? Sometimes. The mission and the purpose in the past lives can change, and sometimes they're the same. It really depends on your intention of going into those past lives, what you're going to see. So sometimes they will highlight that you have a mission here, and you've had a mission in this past life, and they're very similar. So yes, it can. Usually for past life, for purpose and mission in the current life, talking to the higher self is the easiest way to get that answer, typically. But past lives could be used. Yep, definitely. And past lives relate to concepts like karma and soul contracts. Yes. So when I talked about like a bruise or a trauma in a past life and how it comes up in this life, and there's a connection, and then you heal that, That's the karmic loop. So you have something, I'm going to say quote unquote bad happening. You tie that to this life because you need to have that anchoring point, and then you work on healing it. And as you're healing it, it heals the past life. So you have that karma loop. So that is the same thing, pretty much. And like if you hurt somebody else, maybe in this life they hurt you, and then you both heal from that in some way. So in just that exchange of energy isn't necessarily a karma loop, like you do it to me, I do it to you. That's going to continue going over and over and over again until both people, both souls, are able to heal and then complete that karma loop. So that's a really important part of it as well. And soul contracts, we usually have soul contracts with our family, our soul family, to like help us. This is the planning phase for this life, is getting these contracts together and planning out what you want to do. You have soul contracts with people who aren't in your soul family as well, because you want to have an experience and they've agreed to it, and then you sign up the soul contract. Sometimes these soul contracts, when they're made, they have the best intention. You have this big plan. Okay, this is how it's going to work, so on and so forth. You get here, you lose your memory. So everything's just kind of going around. You're getting guided by your higher self, yada, yada, yada. But you don't have the full picture. So sometimes those contracts aren't benefiting you as much as what your soul had planned, or soul contract hasn't fulfilled its purpose, or it's not working the way that it had been planned. So it can be amended, and it can be amended because life gets in the way. We have free will. We have choices to move around. We have choices to do all sorts of different ideas and different decisions. So yeah, we can amend them, and they can just happen amended on our own through, let's say you marry somebody, you divorce somebody, you're changing that soul contract as you're doing this. That sort of thing. Or you can do it energetically, like I do it through the Akashic Records. I amend soul contracts as well. That's another thing that we can do. And yeah, there's all sorts of things. But some sort of contracts will move through past lives. Some contracts after that life, that contract is technically complete, but you can choose to renew it and you can keep going. So that's one thing about that. And that seems to be all the questions going through. So if you have more questions about past lives, please ask. I will make another video to answer your questions. If you want to book a session with me to explore your past lives and ask questions that maybe have come up for you as you've gone through this video, please reach out. My business is Spruce Energy Healing. You can get my website at spruceenergyhealing.com. And if you're really interested in past lives, I would suggest the soul reading and healing session. And again, if you have any questions, please reach out. I would love to hear from you. Have a wonderful day.